Championship is about to get underway. They've repaired the ring, but let me tell you that Mark Two Gun Tang continued in the 5th and 6th round exactly the way he did in 3 and 4, and went on to win a 58-56 unanimous decision. Their win in his hometown. He's really thrilled. Mark Two Gun Tang defeats Eduardo Martinez. All right, we're set to go. We're going to take a look at the tail of the tape, and we'll tell you a couple of things as you look at the tail of the tape. That Will Grisby, in the prime of his career, is 28 years old. Carmelo Caceres is 25. You'll take a look at the heights, and you'll see that Grisby is actually an inch taller. You'll see that he's about 1.5 pounds heavier. They're both comfortably under the IBF junior flyweight weight limit of 108 pounds, and as far as the reach is concerned, just about even a half-inch advantage for Will Grisby. We take a look at the rules. It's the unified rules. It's the International Boxing Federation, which goes along with the unified rules, and we'll tell you that it's a 10-point must-scoring system. The fighter must get up following a low blow, or he'll be counted out. There's no standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round of the fight. We're finally set to go here. The ring's repaired. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr. to get it underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go as we welcome you to the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Don King Productions and U.S. Satellite Broadcasting. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, the President Robert Lee, Senior Supervisor Darrell Peoples, along with the Minnesota State Board of Boxing. The chairman is Joe Azzoni, Vice Chairman Dan Wall, Commissioners, former heavyweight greats Scott Ledoux, Tom Mosby, Joanne McCauley, Pat Fosleen, and Clem Tucker, with our Executive Director Jim O'Hara. Introducing to you our physician at ringside, Dr. Sheldon Siegel. Timekeeper at the bell, we have Jim Elmquist. Keeping count of the knockdowns, George Lilly. Now introducing to you our judges, whose duty is to score this bout from ringside, Michael Ancona, Lindsey Tucker, and Mark Nelson. And our referee in charge of this bout, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Denny Nelson. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Junior Flyweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the Twin Cities, it's time for the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing yellow trunks with black and blue trim, hailing from Parañaque in the Philippines. He weighed in at a trim and ready 105 pounds even, with a record of 16 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. He has 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the current Philippine champion, tonight challenging for the world title, known as the Killer from Manila, introducing Carmelo Caceres. And the defending champion on my right, fighting out of the red corner, really needing no introduction to his hometown. Entering the ring, wearing black trunks with white trim, and proudly representing his hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. He weighed in tonight also at a ready 106.5 pounds, with a record of 14 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. He has 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making the first defense of his title. Please welcome the IBF Junior Flyweight Champion of the World, the pride of St. Paul, introducing Steel Will Grisby.
I don't know know if you can get the excitement that I get. Carl, I get chills. I get goosebumps here. This crowd here in the Twin Cities loves this fight.
It's electrifying, to say the least. I tell you what, they're really proud of their hometown hero and still Will Grisby.
Last time I get this excited was when we heard the Mexican national anthem in that bull ring in Mexico in one of the Chavez fights. This is exciting. We're set to go. The IBF Junior Flyweight Championship of the World, the 108-pound division. They're both in lean. In at 106.5 is Grisby, and Carmelo Caceres is in at 105. He just fought for a world title. Now, the word on Carmelo Caceres is he's a good boxer with world-class ability. This is his second world title shot in his 24th professional fight. He lost the previous bid for his IBF title last year. He's the current Philippine national champion. He's in the yellow trunks, as you see. He's a boxer, counter-puncher. He has a lot of combinations. He's got good speed, good lateral movement on his feet, and he was scheduled to fight in Guam tonight, but he pulled out of that fight in Guam to get his second world title shot tonight. He's been training for 8 weeks, so this is no standby fight, because originally Grisby was scheduled to fight Anis Roga, and Roga got injured in training, and the fight couldn't go on.
Yes, you know, this kid Caceres is a real decent fighter, and he has tremendous hand speed. He's a good boxer, but that's what Will Grisby is too. But I think Will possesses a little more power than Carmelo does, and I think this is going to be a hometown night for the champion.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch, because both of these guys have extremely quick feet, but Caceres, who's very fast on his feet, is quicker than most of the opponents that Grigsby's faced. But I noticed Grigsby is doing one smart thing. Instead of chasing after him, he's moving side to side and making Caceres come to him. You see him just standing there. He's making him come to him. He wants the position to be right for him. He wants to fight this fight outside. He wants to use his jab. He has a great right hand. He's a fine all-around world-class fighter. He's got a decent jab. He uses it more for defense to set up his right hand. He has the real ability to use the feet. You see, when he gets inside, he knows how to use the real good weapons that he has in his hands. He's working on his distance and positioning for power, and you watch his footwork on the inside, because that's what he needs. And notice again the side movement. He slides to the left, now back to his right, now back to the left. He's getting in position, trying to get the angles. Remember in the last fight, folks, before the videotape fight, we said what the fighter needed to do was get the angles. Well, this is what Grigsby's doing. He's staying off the outside of the shoulder one way or the other, either right or left to Caceres, and that's where he wants to fight him from the angle.
Well, I tell you what, Will Grisby is probably one of the more intelligent fighters in boxing today. He's a really, really smart fighter. He doesn't fight to please the crowd. He fights to win, and he does everything in the ring right. He moves well, he punches well, he does great defense, and he just continues to win, and that's all you can ever ask of a guy.
Well, these guys, if you combine their records, is about 35, 36 fights in total, and only a total of 9 knockouts, which is unusual when you have a world title fight of this class. Both world-class fighters. So this is going to be a battle of strategy. It will be a crowd pleaser at times when they decide to mix it up. But anytime you see Grigsby do anything here, this crowd will really be electrified. It's exciting here in Minnesota because they love this kid. It's the first time in, I guess, 70 or 80 years they've had a world champion here. First time in 19 years since they've had a world title fight here. And I was privileged to call that fight over the old Met Center when Larry Holmes beat the favorite son here. It was a very interesting fight that night. The bell ends round number 1. We're in with Will Grisby.
Don't be in a rush.
Grigsby, 28 years old, hometown St. Paul, Minnesota. Rory Rose, his manager. Richard Grigsby, his brother's in there with him. Dennis Presley and Al Benani, a very important guy working in the cuts. And that's Al standing right there facing you. And in the other corner, you've got Leon Ponicillo, who works with all of those fighters that come over from the Philippines and Hawaii. He's the guy doing the talking, and that's Jimmy Brennan working cuts with him.
Well, you know, speaking of that fight that back in 19 years ago, July 7th of 1980, that guy that Larry Holmes fought is he's an inspector now standing in Will Grisby's corner. Scott Ledoux put up a tremendous effort against the champion. Now let's look at that. Look at that left hand.
Real good left hand. Okay, we're set to go here. This is round number 2. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. I thought that Grigsby won that first round. This is round number 2. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. This is the world title, the IBF Junior Flyweight Championship of the world. That's a 108-pound division. The other guys are both ties. You get Samson Suratong from Thailand, and also Pinchot Sirawat. That's C. Sirawat. He's the WBA champion. So these are the guys that you might get an opportunity to see Will Grisby fight down the line if he can defeat this fine fighter from Paranaque in the Philippines. This is his first fight in the United States of America. Steel Will taking his time. Again, folks, don't be impatient here as the crowd is going to get. This is a battle of wills. Steel Will's will and strategy.
Well, I tell you what, Colonel, this is going to be a lot of fun watching these two guys. These are prime boxers, and these little bitty guys are very exciting, and they give you more action than the big guys. And I tell you what, I love these little guys. And Will Grisby went in yesterday at 106.5 pounds, indicated to me, he said, listen, if those 105-pounders don't want to come up, he'll go down. And you know, some great little guys down there like Ricardo Lopez and so forth. So I tell you what, he's ready to challenge them all.
Well, he's below, well below. When you talk coming in at 106.5, you know, that's great weight when you have to be 108. And most of these guys have trouble making weight. Neither one of these guys had trouble making weight. Caceres actually fought for the 105-pound title. So I like the attitude of Will Grisby. I would love to see him fight Ricardo Lopez, who to me is just one of the great fighters in all the world today.
Yes, he's told me a lot on numerous occasions and conversations over the course of the last 19, 20 months that we've been associated with one another, that the Mauricio Pastrana's, the Rosendo Alvarez and Ricardo Lopez, he wants that challenge. And I tell you what, you got to admire a guy with that kind of heart and spirit.
Right now, he's getting away from the idea of slipping side to side. He's standing right in front and almost inviting Caceres to come in. Now he slides away. Caceres comes in, throwing the right hand. Caceres very wide-eyed, very clear-eyed. He knows what he wants to do. This is a battle of wills and strategy.
Well, back in December of last year when he won the title against Ratatapo Vorpin, Vorpin was a big puncher, and he has a wealth of experience, and Grisby fought the perfect fight. He could have knocked him out that night, and I think he's a smart fighter, and that's what he's doing right now to Caceres.
Well, the tendency would be to go after him, but he's making Caceres come to him, because if he gets Caceres in between, if he's not shuffling, he actually lifts that foot off and takes a step forward, and he can time the right hand, he'll knock him out.
Well, that's what he did back in December. He had Vorpin in big trouble, but it came in the middle rounds of that fight, and so we'll have to wait and see how this fight progresses.
Well, this is a tough round to score, fairly even on both guys. Caceres was more aggressive, and Will Grisby did a nice job of counterpunching. Nice left hook there at the bell to end round 2. That left hook may just sway the judge's eye.
I would think so. Now, that was a pretty close round, a pretty competitive round. This guy Caceres come to fight, so that's what we all fight fans out there in the world wants to see, a good fight.
Well, when you look at the record of Carmelo Caceres, you can see a couple of things on here. In his last fight, he lost a very close fight in the Philippines to Rocky Palmer. But right now, while we are talking about him, we're going to go to Jimmy Smith. Smitty, take it away.
Mentioned several times during the fight, former heavyweight contender from Minnesota, Scott Ledoux. Scott, a great night of boxing so far. You got to be pretty excited.
Very excited. We've got a great card tonight. We've got a great turnout for the community. Will Grisby's fighting a good fight here. It's just an all-in-all good night tonight.
All right, he tells me he's not making a comeback, though. Back to Colonel Bob at ringside.
All right, so all in all, Scott Ledoux loves it, and I mentioned what an exciting fight it was until the 7th round of that. In the corner of Caceres, they're saying, hey, you've got to go to the body. Well, let's see if they can get to the body of Steel Will. It'll be interesting to see if they can do that. This is round number 3. Bob Sheridan, Carl King, Jimmy Smith here. We're in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and their favorite son from St. Paul, Minnesota, is Will Grisby in the black trunks to the left of your screen. He's taking on a tough challenger, Carmelo Caceres from the Philippines, a real good one. You know, Caceres had 54 amateur fights in the Philippines and won them all, and you know how good the competition is over there.
Well, the Philippines are pretty tough guys. I mean, you know, that's the wonderful thing about this lower weight classes is that we in the United States don't get a chance to see these guys as often, but you got a lot of great fighters in the Philippines and Japan and Thailand and that Far East, and this kid is one of them. As you can see, he possesses a lot of talent and a lot of skill.
Look at the hand speed that he showed there. I'll tell you one thing. Will's going to watch him stuff. I don't like the way Will is standing right in front of him. I'd like to see him, what he was doing in the first round, getting side to side a little bit more. You see, standing right in front. Now he gets up. Now he's doing it the right way, but he's got to throw while he's doing that. Will likes to fight from the outside. Look at this Caceres. He hunts him down like a dog. Look at him. He's right on him like a pointer.
Well, this guy is really trying. Bear in mind, folks, that this guy has probably taken a look at how Will Grisby dismantled Ratanapo Vorpin a few months back. And I think he's trying to prepare for that, but Will Grisby doesn't fight each fighter the same way. So I think he has a different fight plan, and I think you'll see that unwind as the rounds progress.
And in the corner of the Filipino fighter, they're saying, you dictate the fight right at that time. He got clipped with the right hand, and he rocked him a little bit. He caught him with a good right hand. The left hook grazes the right cheek of Caceres. Caceres' eyes are not as clear as they were. He's a little flat-footed now and a little rubbery, a little jello-like in the knees.
I tell you that Will Grisby has deceptive power in that right hand, and you can ask Mr. Vorpin about that, and Mr. Caceres is getting a little taste of it right now.
Well, Caceres was surprised by that. He rocked him with a good shot. He's in great physical condition, because anything less than that, and he would have gone down for sure. His legs aren't 100% back. You see him go up on his toes now and try and bounce and get a little bit of flow of blood through those knees and legs. Right up on his toes is Grigsby, but again, he's standing flat-footed. He's so much more successful when he slides side to side. Now he goes into it. Gets up on the toes, get repositioned, let the right hand go. Will, just let it go, fella. That's all you have to do. Boom, he comes inside, and Caceres ties him up.
Well, he's kind of like, you know, this is vintage Will Grisby here. He does what he has to do in the ring. He moves around. And I think what he's trying to do is to get Caceres to come forward so that he can blast him with the right hand right down the middle and counter.
That's exactly what he's doing, Carl. You're absolutely right. And again, he's seeing him. He's waiting, trying to get him.
There it is.
There he goes. He goes to the left hand and then right hand right behind it. Bangs him again. Doesn't quite connect with him. Clips him again. His legs are gone again. Caceres is not going to be able to hold up against these shots if he hits him flush. Nice body shot that time. At the bell by Will Grisby. Listen to the crowd. All right, this big Henry Akinwande, he's a former World Boxing Organization world champion. He's ranked #1 in the WBA, and most likely he will be the opponent for whomever wins the big fight next week. Here's the flurry by Grigsby, Carl.
Let's take a look at Will Grisby. See the right hand right on the button, followed by left and then another right hand. And Caceres is in a little bit of trouble there with the deceptive power and speed of Will Grisby.
Well, the Philippine corner is saying jab, jab, use your jab, but the problem is Grigsby is so quick on his feet, it's a useless jab because he can't touch him. You know, if you're going to use your jab and you're not using it forcefully, you got to at least touch the guy. You got to touch him in the chest, the shoulder. You got to do something to twist his body, but the jab is ineffective at all. He can't reach Grigsby with the jab, so I don't know whether that's good advice or not. He's coming forward all the time, but Grigsby's just so quick. All right, let's see if he can do it. And don't forget, he was, what I would say, stung pretty good twice in that third round was Caceres. This is round number 4. Bob Sheridan, Carl King, Jimmy Smith here, working this world title fight from the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Hope you're enjoying watching this chess match to this point. We're in the 4th round of a scheduled 12-round, 108-pound division world championship fight. Look at this.
These guys are really going at it. And you got to bear in mind that this is only Will Grisby's 17th professional fight. He's, you know, his guy's not had a tremendous amount of fights. So he's continuing to learn as he goes. And I'll tell you what, he's really, really something that Minnesota and these Twin Cities are be quite proud of.
I was really excited at the start of this fight, Carl. It was really, you know, this is my, I think, 609th world title fight on television, and I was excited as my first one, I'll tell you. By the way, the only loss, the only blemish on Will Grigsby's career was in his very second fight, and he fought Michael Carbajal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. In his second fight, Carbajal was in the prime of his real good championship days then, and he lost in 4 rounds to him at 106 pounds. He weighed for that fight, and he's been able to maintain that weight that he's at by a ½ pound for the last 4 or 5 years. So this kid was off, too, for about 4 years, was Grigsby, and he's back in action now with a nice left hook that backs off the challenger, Carmelo Caceres.
That's right, that Grigsby fight, when he fought Carbajal, that was on February 24th of 1989. I tell you what, and that was a mistake in my mind to put this guy in with Michael Carbajal. Was coming off a great Olympic career.
At that stage in his career.
Yes, sure. Absolutely. But I think it turned his whole career around, and Will Grisby right now is champion and Carbajal's not.
Well, Grigsby powering with his jab, but right, he's trying to do is get his distance so he can let the right hand fly. See that little left, that little feint to the right and the left, and he ends up with a power shot with the left hand that backs off Caceres. Now, the corner wants Caceres to throw the jab, but his jab is ineffective because he can't touch it. You see, it's short, and Grigsby just parries the punch away. What he needs to do is push it away with the other hand or throw it with the right hand at that left jab, come out, and then throw the left hook. Instead, he just covers himself up and lets Caceres, the challenger, come in, up on his toes, trying to get in position. See Caceres trying to do what his corner wants, but it's so ineffective. What Grigsby would like to do is catch him when he lifts that left foot up off the ground. When he jabs, he lifts the left up off the ground. When he does that, he's going to get clocked with the right hand one of these times.
And you can tell he's off balance a lot the way he's moving. He crosses over his feet somewhat. As you indicated earlier, his left foot is up off the ground when he throws a jab. Bad mistakes to do in a championship fight against a qualified world champion.
It's unusual to see two fighters that are both orthodox fighters get their feet tied up as much as these guys have been doing it too. But it's both because of the fact that they're both so quick on their feet as the fourth round bell is sounded. All right, pretty interesting fight so far. I think Grigsby is doing the boxing and doing a nice job of it. He had no power shots in that fourth round. There's a power shot for you, Carl. All right, Jimmy Smith is standing by, so let's, without further ado, go to our favorite little guy in the boxing world, Jimmy Smith.
Hey, this roving reporter stuff does have its advantages. I'm hanging out with the beautiful ring card girls, and you are?
Erica, Heather, and Heidi.
What do you ladies think of boxing?
We love it!
All right, eat your heart out, Colonel and Carl. Back to you guys at ringside.
Jimmy Smith is going to be in a heap of trouble because his wife is sitting right behind us, Carl. And when Kim sees that, Smitty's going to be about an inch shorter when he gets home.
But we all can share in some of these roaming reporter type things.
Actually, it's only because I'm jealous.
I tell you what, this is just a great night for all of us, and I'm really particularly proud to be here in the Twin Cities.
Well, you know, they're begging with the guy, Caceres, in the corner. They want him, they're saying timing is the translation, and you carry the fight. It's an impossible task to ask your fighter to do. Not right now, they got to inspire the kid because timing, and carrying the fight against a guy as quick as steel will really isn't much instructions at all. I just haven't been able to pick up enough through 4 rounds of the fight to tell him what I would do better because it's just impossible. But I like it when he mixes it up. When Will Grigsby throws a shot, you got to be right there and you got to answer back because who's dictating the pace in the ring generalship is by Will Grigsby. When he decides to engage is when they engage. See Carmelo wait, see him wait, and when Will decides, that's when the action will really flurry.
But you know, styles make fights, and that's one of the things here. These two guys have the same type of style, and they don't match up too well. But Grigsby, I think, has a little more power, and I think he's a little more confident, and now he's starting to land.
Caught him with a left hook. Now see the way this kid Caceres mixes it up. When he comes in, he's got very, very fast hands. I see why he's been so successful in the Philippines because he's got lightning fast hands. Right now, Will Grigsby hasn't been able to do much to the body. You see that sneaky left uppercut? This kid Caceres is good. He's dangerous, and Grigsby knows it and doesn't want to fool with him at all. You can tell he's staying outside. When he comes in, he's throwing punches, and then he grabs. It's a real smart way to fight this guy.
Well, you know, one thing about Carmelo Caceres that a lot of people may not be aware of is that he really trains. His training base is in Honolulu, Hawaii, and he's just back and forth. And he fights out of the Philippines, but he's getting some good training in the Hawaiian Islands.
Even though he took the fight a week ago, he was in training, as we mentioned before, for a fight that was actually scheduled tonight in Guam. So he'd been training for 8 weeks for this fight. So he's in fantastic shape. He was in peak shape because he was scheduled to fight tonight, but when he got a shot for the world title, that's why. Oh, nice uppercut. Left hand backs him off. Might have staggered Caceres with that one. Tries to load up the right hand. Caceres is hanging on very brightly doing that. His legs are still a little rubbery, but he's on his toes. You can see him staggered just a bit. I don't think Will realizes he hurt him because otherwise he'd be right on him. Will's still fighting a cautious fight. Will definitely has the power. There's no question about it. When Caceres shows his speed, Will is able to catch his punches, hold him off with his shoulders and with his gloves when he goes after him and lands a shot. That's the 3rd time it's taken a toll on Caceres.
Well, you know, Will, if he would have followed that left hook that really got him, nailed him pretty good with the right hand. That's his power punches, his right hand. but it's good to see him use the left hook because that'll open him up later for the right hand that goes down the middle, and that could be the end of the fight.
Well, I'll tell you this, the corner of Caceres is yelling, you be the first. It's absolutely impossible for him to be the first because Grisby is just so quick. All that Caceres can do is throw as many punches as he can when he comes in. The bell ends the 5th.
To fight in this arena, to enter this ring, to step into boxing history, you must be ready to fight for the most coveted title in sports, heavyweight king of the world. WBA IBF King Evander Holyfield, WBC King Lennox Lewis, the unmitigated, unadulterated, undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Holyfield versus Lewis, Saturday, March 13th, live on pay-per-view.
And once again, don't forget, folks, that you can start ordering the Holyfield-Lewis fight tomorrow morning with your remote control or by calling 1-888-US-SB-PPV. 1-888-US-SB-PPV. Don't wait till the last day. You may be shut out. This one you want to order early. The tickets in Madison Square Garden sold out in 24 hours. And I understand from my cable operator in the New England area that it is already getting tough to order this fight. So make sure you do it starting tomorrow. The Holyfield-Lewis fight, the World Heavyweight Championship, 1-888-USSB-PPV. All right, we're in round 6 of this scheduled 12-round IBF Junior Featherweight Championship of the World. Bob Sheridan, Carl King, Jimmy Smith here. The principals in the ring. In the black trunks is Will Grisby. In the yellow trunks is the challenger, Carmelo Caceres, which is giving Will Grisby all he wants tonight, even though Will is just outboxing him 10-9 each round. It's a good, tough, strategic fight for Will, and I'll tell you, Caceres is not short on courage or ability either.
Well, you know, it's kind of showing the rest of these 108-pounders that just to have speed is not going to be enough to beat a Will Grisby as he's nailing him with the right and left hands, Colonel.
Well, that left jab, he really threw it like textbook. Remember Jim Martin showing me why Christy Martin had so much power, and it's because she drives off her back foot, and Jim explained that to me in a training session. I just watched it, and I just watched Will Grisby do exactly what Jim Martin taught me in the ring by whacking me, by the way.
You didn't knock him out, Colonel?
I wanted
to. Tell me you got a pretty fair right hand yourself.
I weigh 300 pounds. Jim's only about a heavyweight.
You know, but looking at this fight here, this is the kind of fight Grisby needs, because there's very few fighters at 108 pounds that have this kind of mobility that Carmelo Caceres possesses. So Will normally will outspeed, outmove, and can outpunch a lot of these younger
Well, he has it all. He's so quick on his feet, and see the position he gets. He knows exactly, and that's why it's so hard for Carmelo Caceres. See that right hand right there, banged it behind the ear. Doesn't get overly excited when he nails a guy. It's not lack of concentration, the fact that he can't jump on him. He's trying to soften him up, and then he'll try to finish him off. And he's clipped him with, now that's the 7th real good hand with a right hand, and we saw a couple of straight left hands that he stepped up into, which same as a punch. I mean, this kid can bang with both hands. He can do it with the left hook or the right hand. See, he was waiting, trying to get Caceres to come in. When he didn't, he engages. That's what I mean about effective aggressiveness. He will determine when the engagement will take place. He doesn't every time get the best of it. He clipped him that time, and the referee calls it a slip. Referee Denny Nelson, a very experienced referee who's done several fights and about 32 world title fights in his career, so he knows what to look for. That time he said, no, that was a slip, and I guess it was. I'll go along with Denny Nelson on that one because he has a lot of experience in there.
Well, you know, right now you got Will Grisby is starting to really take control of the fight. He's starting to nail Caceres with the more power shots, and that's going to be the telltale difference. This is the way it was in his last fight.
With all the punches that Caceres throws in tight, the power punches are landed by Big Will. Steel Will looking to land the big right hand, closing seconds now in the 6th round. He's ready. The bell ends before he can get it off. We're past the halfway point now. Will Grisby in my scorecard has won every round. Let's listen to the corner to Leon Pandancio from Hawaii. This is Caceres' corner.
7 round na ni. Ang imong kuan suntok ang 1-2 lang, ang 1-2 lang. Basta
7th round already. You can't wait anymore.
Ang hook dayon. Tingnan mo. Okay?
You got to punch 1-2, 1-2. You can't throw just one punch.
Pumasok siya, timingan mo, Carmelo. 7 round na ni.
Across the way now to Will Grisby.
Every round. And he wobbles, go right back to the 1-2. Step right up and hit him with the 1-2.
Left hand by Grisby right there. This is the kind of thing he's making Caceres miss, and that's finished Grisby. These are the rounds that Will Grisby really controls in most of his fights, is the middle to late rounds.
Well, that's the important thing, and the reason for that, you look at the body of Grisby, he's in tremendous physical condition. Not that the fellow from the Philippines isn't, but Grisby just really wanted to put on a good show for his hometown crowd here in Minneapolis, and so far, if they appreciate boxing, they love this fight. I'm afraid that we in the United States don't appreciate it as much as people in the Pacific Rim appreciate the little guys in Thailand, Japan, Southeast Asia, the Philippines, and of course Mexico and most of Latin America love the little guys. Here in the United States, we love the big guys. You'll see them next week. You'll see them in the next fight. But right now, this is the star of the little guys. Big right hand by the left ear of Carmelo Caceres. That just blinks the eyes. Caceres showing that he can gobble it up. That one caught him right by the ear. And Grisby, Carl, never loses his cool when he lands a big shot.
You know, and this kid has only been stopped one time, and it's unlikely that he will continue on like this. I think he's going to try to step it up a little bit to try to get back in the fight, and he could possibly get stopped again tonight. Well,
the only time he was stopped in his career was on a TKO in the 7th round by Zolani Patillo in South Africa. And that's was for the IBF middleweight, or rather minimum weight title at that time. So, you know, this kid can fight.
Right, and this kid, that could have been a cut or anything of that nature. But this kid is certainly a very bona fide challenger. And he's a good fighter to watch to perform as well.
He's bringing the best in boxing sense out in steel, Will Grisby. Grisby, nice job. He's feinting, he's ducking, he's doing a nice job the way he makes this guy miss. This guy tickets one for the shoulder to the head of Grisby. Grisby's not home when it gets there. As Grisby comes in, throws the left hand right behind it. Now he comes back, gets set up, gets to the standard boxing style, gets ready. As Caceres comes in, he tries to throw the jab again as his corner told him, but he's late that time. That time, Steel Will did exactly what he wants to do. As Caceres was stepping is when he cut loose with the right hand. That's a timing move, and it's a great skill if you can do it. There's not many fighters that are that good with their eyes that they can see a guy. Will Grisby's one of them that can do it. Watch the feet, and if you can catch him in that little skip forward just as he lifts that foot up, because not many fighters do lift that front foot up like this guy does, but he does it every time. I'm sure the corner of Will has picked it up. I'm sure Will has picked it up because I saw him trying to time the right hand as he lifted his left foot. Was Caceres lifting the left foot and Grisby trying to time the right hand. If he catches him, he'll knock him out with it.
Well, you know, one of the things that Stanley Hubbard and the Hubbard family wanted from USSB was not to put this guy in with a bum. They wanted a real quality fight for the Twin Cities, and I think, folks, that they got just exactly what they wanted.
They got more than what they wanted, and for this kid, it's the fight of his life, because winning the title was the thrill, but to defend it for the first time in front of his home crowd, for an athlete, it just doesn't get any better than that. It's like hitting the winning home run in the World Series for a baseball player right across the way. Nice shot! Both fighters landed that time. Look at this at the end of the round. 7. Wow! Caceres thought that he might have hurt Grisby. He didn't. Grisby was there.
I tell you what, let's listen in to see what they're going to give instructions in red corner.
All right. Oh, you got him. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Okay, now when you counter back with a jab, counter back with a double up. Step over to the side when the jabs come back with a right hand and left hook. Do the little spin move. Turn the uppercut up on his ass when he jabs. He's getting great.
Look at this flurry at the end of the round, Carl.
Look at this. I tell you what, these both guys are going at it, bang. Good left hook that Caceres landed on Grisby. Might have been the first time in the fight that he got hit with a good shot like that. And look at there, he closes his show with a good left hook of his own. What a fight, what a fight.
It shows conditioning, too, by Will Grisby, because he was cracked with that left hook. Believe me, he was cracked. It set him back on his heels, but he came right back. That's conditioning. Here we go, round 8. Bob Sheridan, Carl King, Jimmy Smith. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we are, bringing it to you wherever you're watching on U.S. Satellite Broadcasting, DirecTV around the United States, or wherever you're watching around the world. Glad that you can be with us here in Minneapolis, St. Paul for the IBF Junior Flyweight Championship of the World. The champ in black, the challenger in the gold trunks.
This has been a real good fight thus far, but I think Grisby is really handling himself quite admirably. I have him well ahead on the scorecards. You know, this guy is he's really something. He's like poetry in motion for that weight category.
Well, we've got the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th round to go, and on my scorecard, Caceres is going to really have to drop Grigsby 2 or 3 times or do something dramatic to win this fight now, because it's getting towards the point where Caceres on my scorecard will need a knockout to win this fight. And the way Steel Will is performing right now, unless he gets clipped with more of those power shots like he got hit with at the end of the 7th round, he's giving this guy a boxing lesson. Hey, and don't forget, the heavyweights coming up next. We got Henry Akinwande, former WBO World Heavyweight champ, who was scheduled, as you recall, to fight Evander Holyfield last June and came up with that, or down, I should say, with that hepatitis B, and had to come out of that fight. And this is his big fight to come back and have an opportunity. He fought in December against Olin Norris and had a 12-round decision, and he still looked a bit tired in that fight, so we're anxious to see what he can do against Ronaldo Minus. That's coming up after this world title fight. You get to see a guy who's a former heavyweight champion of the world who's scheduled to fight Evander Holyfield, should Holyfield win next week in Madison Square Garden. And we're going to have the comments of Don Turner, who trains Evander, and all of that's interesting, and I know that you're all excited about next week's fight as much as watching this one. This is round 8. Grigsby in black giving the boxing lesson to Carmelo Caceres. Caceres right now is on the hunt. He wants this guy bad. Grigsby up on his toes, circling left, stops, feints back to the right, trying to get in position. Now he slides left and now back to the right. When he does this, he's at his best. Again, Carl, he dictates when they engage.
Exactly, and I think Caceres right now is getting a bit anxious. I think he knows he's behind. I think he knows he's trying to pick it up a little bit. Hopefully he can get lucky with a big punch. But Will Grisby looks like he's too intelligent of a fighter to allow that to happen.
Well, you see the time remaining coming up to the 30 seconds remaining mark at round number 8. This is for the IBF Junior Flyweight Championship of the World. That's the 108-pound division. In that junior flyweight, besides Grigsby, you got Juan Cordova, Melchikov Castro, Joe Magamboa. You've probably heard of some of these guys. Sarawat and Sarang Tong from Thailand are the other 2 champs. And of course, it's baby Jake Malata that's a great little fighter in this division as well. Very closing seconds of the 8th round. Now another Will Grigsby round.
Time for school hard knocks. Guaranteed to knock you out. Because the bigger they are, the harder they hit. In the school of hard knocks. It's time to connect with the dream that brought you this far. Learn the difference between winning and losing. USSB Boxing. Take a lesson in the sweet science. Work hard. Hit harder. In the school of hard knocks. The sweet science. Only on USSB. Home of the best boxing on TV. USSB Boxing.
Well, if you like these little guys in action here in the 9th round, you're going to love the big guys. Henry Akinwande and Ronaldo Minus coming up in a 10-round heavyweight scheduled affair right after this one, the main event. It's unusual you have a fight that good following one this good. But that's the nature of a U.S. Satellite Broadcasting and Don King Productions. Caceres in goal needs a knockout, in my opinion, to win this fight. These have been close rounds. The actual judges, Michael and Conna, Lindsey Tucker, and Mark Nelson of the Twin Cities will be doing the official scoring. Remember, it's a 10-point must scoring system, meaning that the winner of the round gets 10 points, the loser 9 or less. Now the crowd here in the Twin Cities begins to start clapping. They'd like to see Will pick up the pace and take this guy out. They haven't stopped cheering. I don't know if the crowd noise at home, you can get the enthusiasm of this crowd, but they love it here.
They're really trying to get behind this guy to lift his spirits and tell him, let's go, man, let's go home, let's take this guy out of here so the celebration can really begin here in the Twin Cities.
Well, I tell you, the people want to see more fireworks, but he's such a technical fighter that it's very difficult unless you're sitting right where we are, right next to where you get the mud and the blood, the sweat, and everything else going on you, no matter what happens here. We had problems with the delay, with the ring that collapsed a little bit. The guys got it fixed right away. A lot of credit to Robert Ritchie, Peyton Sharon, Bobby Goodman, our matchmakers, Peyton and Bobby, always on the spot to make sure that things are okay and they get this thing under the direction of Robert Ritchie repaired immediately, and we give him credit for that so that we can get on with this. I've seen fights canceled for a whole lot less. Wild with the right hand is Will Grisby, and all he wants to do is touch the guy with the left and nail him with that right hand. He's rocked Caceres on a couple of occasions, but Caceres not short on throwing punches himself. See Grisby get out of there. That's great defensive skill and great ring generalship.
What you have here is you got two guys that are of equal determination. They both got tremendous hand speed, and when they engage, they truly engage, and they engage with a lot of speed and a lot of flurries, and that could be dangerous for either guy. But I think Will Grisby is handling himself quite admirably in those exchanges.
Well, he is the ring general, and that's one of the things. He's just a bit short on that. Caceres started showing his quick foot speed, and there are a lot of similarities about the way these guys fight. And Will's still outboxing the guy and landing the heavier blows, no doubt in my mind, but Caceres making a terrific fight of it.
Well, you know, like I said earlier, styles make matches, and both of these guys would look tremendous with the guys that are slow, the guys that come to them. And these two guys fighting each other, it's a battle of speed, and it's a battle of skills, and both guys possesses both things.
Well, Grisby only in his 18th professional fight, and the other kid, Carmelo Caceres, has only had 23 professional fights. These guys look like they've been fighting their whole lives. Oh, nice shot, got him, throwing all that stuff, and Will Grisby caught him on the left hook. The bell ends, and Grisby gives him a boxing lesson at the very close of the round, and he gets the big stick. That's got the crowd to life.
I tell you what, that's what it's all about, and that's what this crowd is going nuts about right now. Let's take a look at this here, starting with a Grisby right hand and misses a little bit. Just in there, in a real good exchange, bang, the big left hook that really rocked Carmelo Caceres, and Grisby didn't follow it up with it's just, this is another angle, I believe. You get a chance to see that hook. There it is, and it just twisted him around, and Grisby just takes his time and fires a right hand right after him. What a cool comer this guy Will Grisby is.
Well, Carl, you pointed out, did you see his eyes, folks, when you were watching? You see how clear his eyes were? He just looked exactly what he wanted to do. Didn't panic, went after his man and tried to load up the shot again.
Now, he's telling this guy now to keep his hands up. Yeah, that's, and I tell you, that keep your hands up is a bright thing to tell him at this point.
Well, you think he wasn't trying. Okay, here we go, round 10. Steel Will had the best of the final blows there at the end of the 9th round. Neither fighter has been down. Caceres was on his canvas one time, but the referee called that a slip, and it was. Well, we mentioned the amount of times that the feet have get tied up. But now Will Grisby would like to knock this guy out in front of his hometown crowd.
Well, I tell you what, his corner was kind of telling him they want more punches out of Caceres, and I'm like, this guy's really punching. He's giving a real good account of himself. How you can get more punches out of this guy's beyond me, because he's really putting up a bona fide effort. Will Grisby's just maybe a step or two quicker than he is tonight.
Well, you know, you put yourself in the mind of Caceres. He knows that he needs a knockout. He's a tough, determined kid. He's thinking, God, this is frustrating. I'm as good as this guy. I can beat him, because he's just a shade not quite as good as Will. He doesn't have quite as much power. He's not quite as quick. He doesn't execute quite as good as Will. But in his eyes, he can. That time he get clipped, and so he knows he's got to do something extraordinary in the rest of this 10th round and into the 11th round to try to pull this thing out.
Well, you know, you watch these guys, and I watch with a great amount of respect. Here we are in the middle of the 10th round, and neither one of these guys are breathing hard, and they're throwing a lot of punches. They are tremendously well-conditioned athletes. That's
when boxing is at its best. That's what I call the situation where you get the finely tuned machines. When boxing, there can be no more pure form of sport than when you have two great athletes in prime condition in the prime of their careers fighting for the championship of the world. And that's what you've got in front of you here. Will Grisby a little bit more talented, but just slightly. But that's a slightly bit more talent that makes the difference. Right hand gets through as he gets off the ropes.
I tell you who got to be the happiest guy in the world right now is the guy that was going to be in Guam and didn't get this Caceres fight on tonight. I tell you that, he must be pretty pleased.
Well, I don't know. These kids are all competitors, and to get a world title shot for Caceres is a big deal, even though he's just really coming off one. You know, he fought for that WBC 105-pound division. He lost a 12-round decision in the Philippines to Rocky Palma. and it was a tough loss for him. And again, a world title shot right in the heels of that is a big thrill for him. But he really, really is frustrated in his mind a bit because he wants it so bad, Carl. He's got all the desire. He feels in his mind, I got the hands of me, but I can't execute with this guy. Got to frustrate him.
Well, this guy, you know, Will Grisby might be the only guy that this Carmelo Caceres cannot outspeed in this division. Most of these guys don't possess this kind of hand speed, as either one of these guys.
Look at the power that he just showed that time. He hit him with the body. Now he's right on top. Cut him on top of the head. Nails him again. But look at the way Caceres battles off the ropes. He was in trouble and low. I thought he was in more trouble, and he came right back. The bell ends. The 10th round. Do these guys have a clock in their heads to know the last 10 seconds of the round?
Evidently, they must know something, but these are two well-conditioned athletes. And I tell you what, we got... Here's the end of the round with Will Grisby. Let's take a look at that. Caceres misses with a left hook. Now, boom, a right hand. He goes, he attacks. There's the jab. Good, solid right hand.
Notice the way Carly got back. He slipped the punch. Now he's on the assault again.
And I tell you what, by him sticking that arm out, if you've seen him, that held Grisby up, that might have kept him from really getting blasted in that round. This is a real good fight. These two guys, you got to take your hat off to both fighters tonight.
Saying when you come in, punch, you got to get the timing. But it's impossible what they're asking him to do. Leon has the right idea what he's telling him. Punch, and get the timing. But Grisby isn't there.
That's right. That works against any of these ordinary, slower type of fighters. But when it comes to a guy with possessive skill like Will Grisby, it's very difficult to do.
By the way, we thank Mrs. Chin, who's been in the truck doing the translation. We appreciate that being passed on by our producers, Marty Corwin. Just a terrific job by everybody in the truck so that we're able to pass it on to you. Rick Abbott, great job all the way around. Okay, here we go. This is the 11th round. Look at these guys. You talk about conditioning, Carl. We're in the 11th round of a scheduled 12-round world title fight. These guys are fighting like they're in the first and second round of the fight.
I tell you what, these guys look like they can go on and on and on, and they could be here tomorrow morning still fighting if nobody gets knocked out. I tell you that, they're in that kind of shape, folks.
Well, it doesn't appear anybody's going to get knocked out, but if anyone's doing the knocking out, Grisby certainly looks like he has more power than does Carmelo Caceres at this stage of the fight. And throughout the course of the fight, the heavy blows have been landed by Grisby. Now, we're trying to give you a fair look at this fight, and we're very close to Will Grisby. We love him as a kid. He's a terrific guy. We know him very, very well, and we're pulling for him. But I'm trying to give a fair shot to Caceres, too. But I still think, in all fairness, that Grisby has won every single round of this fight.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, you know, the big names out here are the heavyweights, like this fight coming up next week. But, you know, guys like this, these little guys here are just as good as any, if not better than any heavyweight. They're certainly far more exciting. And my hat's off to him, and in a lot of cases, much more well-conditioned.
Well, Will had to show some conditioning there because he gets stung, and he answers right back with a lightning left of his own that bounces off the forehead of Caceres. Caceres coming into the kill zone of Will, and that's where he wants him, so he can throw the right hand. He feints left again. He's looking to throw the right hand when he does that. I know that. And he comes again. Now he's back on his toes, getting repositioned again. Wants to get off one of the shoulders of Caceres to let fly. Either the left hook, the straight left jab, he goes with it. He's ready. He's waiting for Caceres to come in. There's the right hand, just a little bit short. He's trying to time it again. See the way he picks up that foot? That's a great shot, guys. It shows. See him lift and lift and lift, and that's what he's trying to time. He's trying to catch him when that foot is up. That takes great peripheral vision with your eyes, great coordination with your hands and eyes to be able to execute that. And Will's just slightly off. Every time he lifts that foot now, Will is trying to counter him with a shot, whether it's a jab or a right hand. And you really got to have your timing down. And they're asking in Caceres is going to get better timing. No way is he going to have better timing than Will Grisby.
I'll tell you what.
Showing me something great here. Misses the right hand again. And the reason he's doing that is Caceres knows how to avoid the shot, too. He ducks his chin and tries to get his head over the left shoulder of Grisby every time he comes in, so he's away from that right hand of Grisby. He knows what he's doing, too, Carl.
Well, these two guys, you know what, if we were in a hockey game, I think these guys would break that record of John Martinucci that fought for 48 minutes one night. And I tell you what, these guys look like they can go for 48 days.
Well, that's the second time in this round that Caceres has landed a heavy blow to the head of Will Grisby. Grisby's out-punched him in this round, but two power shots by Caceres that Grisby has had to be in shape for. He's been hit by 3 power shots in the course of the fight. The bell ends the 11th round. This is one of the best lopsided scoring fights that I've ever seen.
This is really good, and I tell you what, there's some folks out here, man, that's really enjoying this. You got a lot of hockey players in the area here. Colonel Reed Larson, I tell you, was 18 years a professional hockey player. He broke Bobby Orr's rookie scoring record, and he had the hardest shot at 138 miles an hour ever before in the hockey histories in the audience. I tell you, these guys are really come out to support their own. We're listening to Dennis Presley.
A very controlled corner, no panic over there. They're trying to light a fire under Will now because Will coasted a little bit in the 11th round. If any round that Caceres may have won, it may be this round. I'll show you why.
Well, let's take a look at what Caceres does. That's boom, a big right hand, and that might have been one of the better punches of the fight for him. And he's landed maybe 2 or 3 of those throughout the course of the fight. Listen to the roar of the crowd. I tell you what a great night for the Twin Cities.
All right, here we go. Round 12. Bob Sherman, Carl King, Jimmy Smith here. The principals in the black trunks. Facing you now to the side is Will Grisby, and Carmelo Caceres, who's fighting in the championship fight for the 2nd time in 2 fights for him, is very enthusiastic about trying to lift this title. It'll take a knockout, in my opinion, for Caceres to win this fight, and as I say that, he's clipping the left hand off the gloves of Will Grisby. Grisby trying to get in position to throw the right. He jets out with the left hand, scores the right hand, and down he goes with the left. He scores 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. At first, the referee was a bit tentative. I thought he was going to say he pushed him because he did trip off his leg after he hit him, but he gives him the standing 8 count. Here we go. Grisby wants to finish strong and knock him out. He is wobbled, Carl. You can see his legs are wobbly.
Yeah. This is, you know what? This is the same kind of thing that we just seen in the Larry Donald fight where Artis Pendergrass went down in the last round. Folks, it doesn't get any better than this. We say that quite often lately. But these guys here, you got to admire the determination of Carmelo Caceres to get up from that left hook and still try to continue and close this show.
Well, Caceres was hit with another left hook. Will trying to get in position to land another left hook, the right hand of the body. He digs downstairs, and look at the way Caceres continues to throw punches. The referee, Danny Nelson, who was right on the spot to call that knockdown, he didn't signify that it was going to be a knockdown, but nonetheless it was as he started the count. Fates with the left hand, Fates with the left hand again. Now he's up on his toes, standing right in front, looking for the right hand opportunity. Pause with the left does Will. Will wants to throw that right so bad. Where's Caceres? He's got to come back. He's got to do something, or he's got to know he's not going to win this fight. There's a right hand by Will. He digs downstairs. Punishing shot behind the left elbow of Caceres.
I tell you what, this guy Will Grisby has taken total control of the fight as he's really has, but in this round in particular, he's really electrifying his hometown crowd, and I tell you what, it can't get better than this, folks.
You know, a lot of people would say, here's a guy that's way ahead. They've seen guys get knocked out in the final round, like a Michael Moore against George Foreman when he had the fight one. It happened so often, but in this case, Will Grisby has already tasted 3 heavy punches by Caceres. In his mind, Caceres can't knock him out, and he wants to finish strong. It's the nature of the beast, the boxer that's in him that makes him fight like this. He doesn't need to do this. All he has to do is stay away, but it's the attitude, the pathos, the desire, the struggle to be the best and to knock this guy out in front of his hometown crowd. He may not be able to do it, but he's trying.
I tell you what, that homecoming thing is awful dangerous. I remember back in March of 1980 when Big John Tate went home to Knoxville, won every round, 15th round. Mike Weaver knocked him out. Michael Dokes the same way in Cleveland, Ohio in 1983. So this is dangerous for a lot of fighters coming home, but Will Grisby's making this Twin Cities very proud.
As I say, it's the nature of the beast. They're going to finish strong with a flurry. The crowd loves it. People coming to their feet. Big right hand lead. Left hook. The bell ends the fight. And I believe that Will Grisby has retained his title. We'll wait for the scoring of the 3 judges. Ivan scored 120, 108, almost a perfect shutout for Will Grisby. He actually had Caceres down in the 12th and final round, and I'll change my scoring because of that, Carl, as you take a look at this knockdown.
Look at this. Right there, bang, a left hook, kind of stumbling, tripping over his feet. Good call by the referee. I tell you, that left hook was what caused him to trip over those feet.
Well, I'll tell you, if you like boxing and you like the skill and artistry of boxing, you had to love that fight. And I'll tell you this, to be here in Minnesota, to feel the electricity of the crowd inside this arena was really electrifying during the course of this fight. This is really exciting stuff. I'll tell you, unfortunately, as you watch the end of the round here now, you see that Grisby is really feeling his oats now. He goes with the right-hand lead, rocks the guy again, hits him with the left hook, and that's the way the whole thing ended. And why does the guy do it? Because that's the nature of him. There's the governor, Jesse Ventura, and he loves what he's seen. He's quite a guy. Certainly, I admire the people of Minnesota for electing him, because you need people besides lawyers being governors and presidents and kings.
Well, I tell you what, he was at the T-Wolves game the other night. I like this guy, you know, and I think the state of Minnesota likes him. And when it was, I think it's about time. Look at Caceres.
Yeah, I like this kid too. It's a tough fight for him. It's going to be a tough loss. Jimmy Lennon has the scorecards together, so we're set to go. Let's make it official. The unanimous decision for Will Grisby. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of championship boxing here in the Twin Cities, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Mark Nelson, scores about 119 to 108. Judges at ringside, Michael Ancona and Lindsey Tucker, both scored about the same at 120 to 107. All three in favor of the winner, and still the IBF Junior Flyweight Champion of the world, the pride of St. Paul, Steel, Will Grisby.
You see Will Grisby getting the belt from Daryl Peoples, the supervisor of the IBF. Jimmy Smith is with him, so let's hear the interview. Here's Smitty.
All right, let's go to